So definitely one thing I don't think that we as moms talk enough about is the guilt that we carry having children to men who are not involved, or like in my first son's case, just disappears. There's an immense amount of guilt that is associated with that. Like for my first son, his dad was like involved 100% up until he was about 6 years old. We split when he was 3. He stuck around 100%, like with split custody up until Jermaine was about 6, 7. He had me in and out of court fighting for full custody that entire time. But he was paying the child support and he was picking Jermaine. We had like literally split custody. So, and he was doing all that. But then he just, I don't know, he just fell off, like pretty much completely when Jermaine was about, I have to say like 9, 10. Yeah, and he and I, we couldn't even communicate. There was just no talking between me and him. He was always in the past, and I was always, my focus was always Jermaine, whereas his was always the past. And he's clearly upset with me and angry at me, and so much so that he wasn't able to get over it and be the father that he needed to be to his son. So I carried so much guilt about Jermaine not having his dad. Like, a boy needs a dad. Like, us moms, like, we can raise these boys. We can we can raise them up. But that doesn't mean that they're getting what they need. Because as a woman, as a mom, you don't know what a boy really needs, and you don't even know how to respond or approach these boys when it comes to certain situations. And responding to them, when you're trying to discipline, the way that moms do that is not the way that typically, or I will talk about myself, the way that I did that, the way that I tried to discipline Jermaine was not what he needed. And I know I caused emotional damage. He may not talk about it, and I hope that one day we can, but I know that I did. Because as I talked in other videos, as I talked about in other videos, I was very masculine acting with him, and I was aggressive, and but yeah, I carried a lot of guilt. Like I just felt bad about his dad not being around. I mean, Jermaine looks just like his dad. It's weird. Like, he needed to grow up knowing, like, I taught him what I could teach him, but I was still growing up, literally. Like, I was still growing up as a woman and as a mom. So I really can only teach Jermaine through mistakes. And that's not teaching him to be a man or to act like a man or do what men do. But he needed his dad for that. Like, he needed his dad to show him what masculine looks like, and how men handle things, how men talk, just he needed that. And I tried to be everything that my oldest son needed, and I failed, obviously, because I can only be one person. My brother was shot and killed in 2016, and when that happened, that added on more guilt because now, or more fear, because now on top of guilt, now I'm afraid. I have this black son who I can't really point out like how to be with him, how to raise him, to be a man, and to not, I just, I had the fear of me not raising him to be a good man, to be out of the streets, so that the same thing didn't happen to him. Like, I was really, really fearful of that. Like, I just wanted to protect my son. Like, I didn't want anything to happen to him. But it just, I don't know if anyone else like wants to talk about how they feel in terms of what that guilt looks like for you. But what it looked like for me was being harder. So the guilt that I carried when I was raising Jermaine, what that looked like was me being harder on him. And the idea behind that was to be tough, because I wanted him to be tough and I wanted him to be strong, because that's what my idea of manhood was and is. I remember so vividly, and I still cringe when I think about this, but he played football. And when Jermaine was younger, he was very passionate about football. And he had this football game that, I don't know if it was some kind of tournament. I think it was just a regular game though. And for some reason, like, I just think he was passionate about football. I don't know if this game meant something or if it was just, it's football. But they lost the game. And I remember Jermaine, when they went to their huddle, Jermaine was sitting by himself and he was crying. And I go over to him and I am just like so fucking mean. Like, I fucking cringe when I think about this. But instead of like, nurturing him and consoling him, I was just basically telling him to tough it out. It's okay, it's just the game. Like, stop crying. Like, I handled that all wrong. And that's because I'm not a man. I didn't know how to handle those situations at the time. I just didn't know. And I still, to this day, like, I still cringe. Like, I wish that I could go back and just hug my son, because he was in his emotions about that game. And the fact that they lost and didn't win, it hurt him. It did something. And instead of me trying to understand, I brushed it off as if it was nothing, no big deal. But it clearly was a big deal to him. And that's what guilt in motherhood did. That's how I handled the guilt in motherhood when it came to my first son. I became hard, I became tough, and I became afraid. I feel like I raised my first son so strategically, like in a kind of it was just so structured, and I had so many expectations for him. It wasn't fun. I can't say that I look back and we had fun, or I did a lot of fun things with him. Like, everything had a reason or a purpose, or some kind of future expectation. Now with the baby, I have even more guilt because, so with my oldest, he has memories of his dad. Like, he has memories of doing different things with his dad, and he has memories with his dad. So he knows him. But with Justice, with my second son, my baby's growing up not knowing that man at all. Not knowing what it feels like for your safety man figure to love on him and pick him up and play with him, get on the floor and play with him. Things that I do, but I do and I don't. It's like, as a single mom, I literally have to be everything, and it's so much. Like, he needs somebody to play with him all the time. He needs to go outside every day. He needs certain things that every single day. And as a single mom, as a 39-year-old woman with my own life outside of motherhood and my own mental, I cannot be straightforward in one thing every single day. And for the baby not to grow up with that man and knowing that man, I constantly think of all these different situations and scenarios that he will be in later in life and wonder who his dad is, where his dad's at, who he looks like. You know? Like, even like the little kiddie shows that he watches, like Miss Rachel specifically and Coco Melon. They have dads on the show. They have songs that talk about dads, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate the word dad. I hate when he hears the word dad. Like, I hate it. It just irritates my soul so fucking much. Like, I don't even want him to know that word. I don't want him to even know that he's missing that. But it's no way for me to avoid it. Like, when me and the baby are out and we see other boys with their dads, like, it's just so triggering. And it just makes me feel so guilty that I had a baby with a man that is just scum, that is just no good. Because neither one of my children deserved that. They don't deserve to not have their needs met. Unlike with my first son, where I tried to be all these different people, I'm not attempting to do that with the baby. I learned from my first son that I cannot be anything or anyone but a mom, but me, Chrissy, a woman. I can't be anything. I can't be the grandparents. I can't be the aunts and uncles. I can't be the grandfathers and I can't. I have to just be me, a mom. So with Justice, I am a lot more patient, and I'm sure that comes with age too, age and experience. I'm a lot more controlled, and I focus more on letting Justice he's only 16 months, but I focus, excuse the plane, it's a plane going above. I focus, sorry, so loud. I live next to an airport, but I focus so much on allowing him to be free. And my motherhood right now is okay. So that was a lot. A plane, a fire alarm going off. But I focus more on just letting him be free and explore, and to not put so much pressure on perfection, whereas with my oldest I did. But with the baby, I just want him to feel free. I just want him to feel free, and I just want to love on him, and I want to be soft, and I'm soft. I'm very soft with the baby. And I don't know. The guilt though, like I don't think that's ever going to go away unless maybe the baby's dad comes around and, you know, I don't know. But it's something that I live with every day. There's something triggering every day that happens or that I hear or that I see. And it just makes me feel so bad, like so guilty. But what I have learned to tell myself when these things happen is that he's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. And okay, maybe he may never know his biological dad, but one thing for sure, two things for certain. Just because a man isn't biological doesn't mean that they can't love him. And I work on myself to better myself and to be a better woman and a better mother and everything, because I want to one day meet someone who may fill that spot, which unfortunately is kind of the same thing I tried to do with the first one, because a lot of why I stuck around the first with Justice's dad while he was in jail like that is because I thought he was going to be something great to Jermaine. I truly did. I don't think if it wasn't for my first son, I don't think I would have stuck around the way I did, or I would have approached it the way I did. I can talk about that in another video, but a lot of that has to do with my oldest, because I wanted somebody. I wanted him to have somebody, and he put on this show as if he wanted to be that too, which I'll talk about another time. But that's kind of what I tell myself, and that's what I work on. Is I work on just being the type of person that I want to meet, and building myself up to the kind of woman who a man would want to be involved with. And in return, I just, the baby would get what he needs too. So, and that's really all I can do. I can only be a mom, and I can only build myself up to be the type of woman that a man would want to enter my life and help me with my baby. That's all. I can't do anything else. Or two, maybe his dad will get his life together. I don't know. But are you one of those moms whose child doesn't have a dad, or maybe never knew their dad, and you have that guilt like I do? And if so, how are you handling it? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing to get past it, or how are you dealing with it? I'd really love to hear another mom's perspective. Till next time.